Warriors are in shambles right now. We got Draymond, who's missed more games than he's played thus far, because apparently he decided to take up a part-time WWE career. We got the Warriors choking 5 different games this season when they've had a lead of 18 plus or more. GP2 pulled his hamstring 1 game after coming back from a calf injury, and now he's out another month. Chris Paul breaking his hand. Moody in his camp unhappy with his inconsistent role. And Jonathan Kuminga telling the media he lost trust in Steve Kerr and no longer believes he'll allow him to reach his full potential. It's a clown show right now. First off, let's talk about this Kuminga situation. Kerr's idiotic decision making during the Nuggets game was the last straw for Kuminga. JK was literally in the midst of one of his most complete games of his career, where he looked like one of the best players on the court. He was out there doing everything. His 16 points were third on the team. His 4 rebounds were second on the team. His 4 assists were third on the team. He was a team high +6 and had a team high 7 free throw attempts. He went 6 of 7, all in only 18 minutes. And yet, after converting an and-1 with 6 minutes left in the third quarter, Kuminga didn't sniff the court the rest of the game and had a front row seat to Kerr wet in the bed and the Warriors choking the game away. With the bullshit Jokic 39-foot banked-in bomb from the deep right sideline being a fading dagger that put them away. Look at Kuminga's reaction to the Jokic game winner. He was literally sick to his stomach. I would have been too. Denver went on a 25-4 run in the final 6.5 minutes to erase an 18-point fourth quarter deficit. With his team struggling to score, Kerr didn't think to put in a one dude on a team that was getting to the rim at will. I mean, seriously, come on, bruh. What was Kerr thinking? The Warriors failed to get quality looks and had zero ability to get to the rim and finish. In his 18 minutes, Kuminga led the team in paint points and free throw attempts. Look at Kuminga's shot chart. Look at this. 5 of 6 at the rim. Besides the 1 wide open 3 he missed, he didn't take any other shots outside of the paint. It was no need to. Nobody on Denver can keep him from getting to the rim. And Kerr decides to do the Nuggets a favor by benching a 1 inside scoring threat they had no answers for, while his team was forced to jack up tough contested jumpers. It's insanity.
Yeah, he was playing great, and his normal time to go back in would have been around the 5-6 minute mark. And Wiggs was playing great. We were rolling. We're up 18, 19, whatever it was. And so we just stayed with him. And then at that point, it didn't feel like it was the right thing to do. He'd been sitting for a while. So I stayed with the group that was out there. Obviously, we couldn't close it out.
He said it didn't feel like the right thing to do, putting Kuminga back in after sitting for so long. Really? That's where we're going with, Steve? You know what doesn't feel right? Getting out coached and smoking an 18-point lead while your team gets outscored 25-4 to end the game. Meanwhile, you're sitting there making zero adjustments to what you're seeing take place in front of you. Instead of putting your team in the best position to win, you're worried about what feels right. That's a problem. What Kerr did to Kuminga is how players lose respect for you as a coach. You're telling young players they have to do certain things in order to earn more minutes. And when they do those things, they still get benched anyways. That makes you a hypocrite and untrustworthy. Kuminga played as complete of a game as you can ask for and executed the game plan as good as you can hope for. He was rebounding, he was playmaking without turning the ball over, he was attacking the rim, not settling for threes, playing great defense. He played the exact way they've been preaching for him to play like. What more could he possibly have done? Here's a Kuminga quote from Marcus Thompson's article a few weeks ago that was very telling. "That's where it's confusing," Kuminga said. "Sometimes I come out the game not knowing what I did, and that messes with my head. It's like what they want me to do. I can pass, I can do different shit. I'm a difference maker. I know I am, but it's not up to me to do certain things. And how can I say it? It's not up to me to control my minutes. I feel like I've done that, but the last voice ain't mine. And it's not easy because I know how to score the basketball. I know how to pass. I know how to do different things on the floor, but it's about putting it all together." Now, mind you, he said this a week before the Nuggets game. So that buffoonery Kerr pulled in the Nuggets game must have been his boiling point. Look, man, we can sit here and argue about Kuminga's long-term upside, but I think we can all agree this roster isn't stacked with dudes who should be blocking his minutes. They lack size, athleticism, and downhill scoring. All things he's arguably the best on the roster at. Here's a snippet from an article written by Warriors writer Monty Poole that's very interesting. When Kuminga was benched for the final 18 minutes last Thursday as the Denver Nuggets erased an 18-point deficit to beat the Warriors at the buzzer, Joe Lacob did something unusual. He came to Kerr's post-game news conference. The CEO wanted to hear Kerr's response. With reason to be particularly curious regarding Kuminga, the day since has been intriguing, with Kuminga's frustration spilling out, leading to a conversation with Kerr, resulting in increased minutes on Friday. To me, this sounds like Joe Lacob was just as dumbfounded by Kuminga being benched as the rest of us, and just had to hear the ridiculous explanation Kerr was going to conjure up post-game for himself. Lacob definitely told Kerr he needs to play Kuminga more. The very next game, Kuminga played 36 minutes against the Pistons and didn't leave the court the entire fourth quarter. That's not a coincidence. Now even the owner is second-guessing the head coach's decision-making and felt the need to intervene. That's a disastrous situation. But hey, that's the hand Kerr's forcing with his ludicrous decision-making. I'm sure Kuminga still doesn't trust Kerr, but at least for now, it seems like things aren't at the point of no return. Moody, on the other hand, even though he hasn't outright said it, it's obvious he's unhappy with his role. It's been reported that Moody's camp is frustrated with his lack of a consistent role. For the lack of a better term, it feels like he's the sacrificial lamb. Whenever there's a logjam, he's the guy that falls out. I agree with this. Steve Kerr's taking advantage of Moody's kindness. Whenever you hear Kerr talk about Moody, he speaks on how professional he is, saying he's not one to complain about minutes. He's more willing to be the good soldier. So whenever it's a roster crunch, Kerr's gonna default go at the vet because he knows that's a path of least resistance. Whenever Moody's on the court, he's positively affecting the game. So it's tough for a young dude that's clearly capable of contributing to be catching DNPs, especially in year 3 when all your peers from your draft class that were drafted around you is getting 30 minutes a night. This is what Moody had to say after the blowout loss to Toronto.
Mo, what do you think is your best pathway to sticking in the rotation, like in terms of what you bring out there on the court?
A lot of the stuff that has happened, coach, they told me that a lot of it is like out of my control. They saying like even when it first happened, they said I was doing all the right stuff, playing good, but circumstances, situation, things that I can't control. So obviously taking a self-conscious route, there's obviously something you can do better always, something I could do better to control. But I feel like I've been in a good rhythm, been in a good flow all season. So I don't want to try to change things up just because the situation has changed. So it's just sticking to the key things that I remember during the game that keep it solid, keep it steady.
They told him he's playing good and doing everything needed, but his playing time is out of his control? Huh? Yeah, bro, if I'm Moody, I'm requesting a trade, bro. Get me up out of there. It's easy for us on the outside to just say be a good sport and do what they say, but Moody has done that. He's been a good sport for 3 years. If I'm him, I'm done being a good sport. He knows he's good enough to play, and he's been told it's out of his control. Nah, forget that, bruh. It's too much money on the line for his next contract. Y'all can't forget the human aspect of the NBA. He's putting in all the work and doing everything asked of him. Proving in playoffs he's capable of contributing, and he still can't sniff the court unless someone's injured? Come on, man. Now, I will acknowledge that the Warriors are deep at his position. He's playing behind Clay, Kuminga, Wiggins, Paz, and GP2. So minutes at the backup shooting guard and small forward spots was always going to be a tough competition. But CP3's injury opens up opportunity for Moody to get back in the rotation, which he took advantage of against the Raptors, scoring 21 points on 7 of 9 shooting, 4 of 6 from 3. Look, I realize this video might be looked at as a Kerr slander session, and that's not my intent. I'm not one to immediately jump to blaming the coach, but if we're being honest, this has easily been Kerr's worst coaching season of his career. When you've been terrible at your job, that opens you up to criticism, especially in the realm of sports. It is what it is. One of Kerr's biggest weaknesses is he's not great at adapting. He's stuck in his ways of doing things, and when his way doesn't work, there isn't too many counters coming. And as the core has aged and the margin for error has dwindled, his shortcomings as a coach has been magnified. Ever since Mike Brown left to be the head coach of the Sacramento Kings, the decision making from the sideline has noticeably been a lot worse. I'm just saying, if Steve Kerr doesn't turn the season around and the Warriors go out sorry behind his terrible decision making, I think the Warriors go in a different direction and let him walk in the offseason. Things are looking dire for the Warriors right now. This next month leading to the trade deadline is going to be very interesting. Anyways, that's all I got for y'all. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It's much appreciated. I'll holla at you on the next one. Peace.